My name's Catherine McNulty, and I founded Grief Inspired because I lost my son and I couldn't find what I needed. And the grief process was really, really hard. And as I worked through the process, I learned some things and I learned some more things, and I really did take time to dig in, and I did a lot of reading and I did a lot of research, because I'm a perpetual student. That's what I know how to do. And if I need to figure something out or there's something that I don't know, my instinct is to go and just learn about it. And I gave a talk this weekend and I call that digging in. So I spend a lot of time now talking to people who are grieving in hopes of learning more and learning how I can continue to help those of you who are grieving get through the process. And so part of it, some of it's just spending time and saying, you know what, I get it. I get that there are days when it's really hard and you're not really sure how you're going to get through the day, and all you want to do is just sit on the couch. And to be honest, there's days that, I still am like that, not necessarily related to my grief, but I still experience anxiety. I still experience some depression at different times. And so I'm reminded that life goes up and down. We oftentimes say we just want everything to be okay. We want everything just to be calm and peaceful. And certainly we don't want to have conflict and anger and a lot of pain and sadness. But the reality is that life is like the monitor in the hospital. You want it to be going up and down, because if it's not going up and down, then you're not really living. And so the grief process and everything that you're going through, maybe you're on a down. And that's okay. But what I want you to remember is that if you are on a down, there's always an up. And that you can get through this. And I just want to acknowledge how hard it is. And one of the things I think that was most impactful for me was that it was really, really lonely. I felt like no one understood. I felt like no one really got what I was going through, and that I was supposed to be better already. And so I would beat myself up saying, I should be over this by now. I should be back to normal. And I just think that's a load of crap. Now that I'm on the other side of it, it takes time, and whatever it is that you're experiencing is likely part of your normal and your grief process and what it's going to take to move through it. And I think that as long as you continue to hang on and to hang in there, that you will get through the process. I was at a speaking event this weekend, and I was talking specifically to a group of people who were business people. They all have their own businesses and are really looking to impact the world in different ways. And one of the questions that I got was how do you do this? You talk about grief, you talk about loss and death and things that are not happy topics, but what they said was, you seem like such a happy person. And I am a happy person. I'm a happy person now. But it's because it took all of those years and all of the work that I've done to really process what happened, to, my talk had 3Ds in it: dig in, discover, and design. So I had to dig in and say, what is this grief thing about? How am I going to get through this? What's going to happen to me? What is grief? What am I going to experience emotionally? What's typical? And then what's unique for me? And then the discover is learning more about myself and learning more about yourself. So things change when you're deep in grief, when you've lost someone really close to you. You know, I joke that like your friends change because there are people who really show up for you and there's people who don't. And so oftentimes the people who, you know, we say are in our inner circle, they they change, and that's okay, and it's actually good. And so part of that's learning about the discover is about learning, you know, what's really important to you. Life shifts when the things, you know, the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. There's a lot of small stuff when you're going through grief because you're like, I don't care what I have for dinner. I don't care what, you know, how clean my house is. Like, I just miss my loved one. And so things shift and you decide what really is important. And I think that that's the discovering more about yourself. But I think that the other thing that's part of the discovery is being able to say, this is who I am. And, you know, I am a more emotional person. And this hit me really hard. And I'm not someone who's going to just, you know, turn around really quickly and just act like it's not a problem and be okay, because that's not true. But at the same time, I've learned that, wow, I'm really strong and that I've gotten through situations and life, things that, you know, if I had looked back and said that I would be doing things like this, I can't even believe it. So I think that the discovering is learning a lot about who you are, what you want your life to be like, and how things are different. You know, we talk about in grief, we talk about developing a new normal, because the normal that you had, the life that you had, and the life that you expected is no longer available to you. So you have to find something new. And that's the hard part, is figuring out what is the new. And that takes you from the discover into the design phase. And the design is, well, what do you want your life to be like? And maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know what makes you happy because everything you feel now is so sad. And that's okay. But when you do feel a little bit of joy, when it's something, no matter what it is, no matter how simple it is, like looking at flowers. I saw somebody post yesterday that they just buy themselves flowers because flowers make them happy. I like plants because I don't like that flowers die. But I like plants and I grow a lot of plants. And so gardening and having plants around me and seeing the green, you know, I've learned that that's really fulfilling for me. And I'm sure that you'll have those things too if you don't already. And so it's really, you know, saying, well, what do I want to have in my life? And that's what the design is. The design is saying, you know, what do I want my life to be like? Well, I don't know. I've never, you know, tried working with clay, for example, or painting a picture. I haven't really worked with watercolors or acrylics. Well, maybe I'm just going to try it. And you just try it, and then if you like it, you keep doing it. And if you don't, then you've learned something too. You've learned more about yourself because you're like, well, I don't like that. And I think that that's the design. And the point is that you can do whatever you want, and you can create your life to be whatever it is that you choose. It might not be the life that you initially wanted, because of course you want the life, you know, with your loved one, but that's not available. So you can choose what it's going to look like. You can choose who's going to be in your life. You can choose the environment that you live in. You can choose where you spend your time and who you spend your time with. You can choose to learn more about certain topics or crafts or whatever it is. Or you can choose not to, or you can choose to spend time just watching Netflix, because Netflix can be amazing as part of the grief process and as part of healing. You know, so much of the time a lot of us have so much anxiety that being able to like settle and just, you know, temporarily like take a time out. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that all of those things, and just saying, yeah, I like sitting on the couch with my sister watching Netflix. It's fun. It makes me happy. Going shopping now makes me happy. I guess it always has. But the things that I choose to buy are very different because I've changed my environment, and my environment is only has things that really bring me true joy. And I think that that's part of the process too. So I just wanted to take some time today and say hello and check in. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what works for you, what's challenging for you. Sometimes the hardest part, in my opinion, the hardest part of grief was just doing it alone. And so I don't want you to feel like you have to do it alone. I want you to have somewhere to go, and that's what Grief Inspired is. So I hope that that helps, and I just want you to know that, hey, I'm here for you. If I can help in any way, please do so. I've written a lot of articles on the Open to Hope website, so if you go to opentohope.com, you can search my name, Catherine McNulty, and you can find some of the articles that I've written there that are specific to loss. But there's also lots of articles from lots of different people. So I want to invite you to read some of those today and take some time just for you. Learn about the grief process, dig in, discover more about yourself and what you want, and then design the life that you want to have, because that's why we're all here. And the reason why I've come to, the reason why these type of events happen and why tragedy happens and why suffering happens is because we're all supposed to be connected, and that we're here so that I can share my story with you and you can share your story with me, and maybe I can help you. Maybe we can connect. Maybe we can do it together. That's what grief coaching is about. That's why I do all of these things, is because I want you to know that you're not alone. You don't have to do this on your own. And it's okay to ask for help, and it's good to ask for support. And I'm here. So please reach out. Let me know what else you want me to talk about, what other things are on your mind. Because the reality is if they're on your mind, then they're likely on other people's minds too. And that means that we should be talking about it. So take care of yourself today. You can do more than just survive grief. And we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.